YouTube. Just thought I'd do another video. I mean, pretty quick since the last one, but we did have another warm day around here last week, and so I got out to the course and did some practicing, so I thought I would just throw some video up. Then, maybe just I did some reviews of, my stats from last year, maybe took some time to look at that, reflect on anything I could do to improve that for next year. Ideally, I want to play as well as I can in competition, that's the point. So what would it take to get me to where I want to be? We'll start with this. I thought I'd check in, and then, that'll probably lead into like doing a what's in the bag, once I have everything built up, but I have to have the pieces. And then just also some things that, just swing stuff. Let's start with that. I'll probably put some video up here of me, going through what I was doing on the course. So as I was saying in my other video, I like to just go onto the course and practice. So I bought a whole bunch of used golf balls from like lostgolfballs.com or something. I bought the AAA rated balls that are like $11 a dozen or whatever. And I just throw a bunch of those into my bag, as you're seeing here, and just work on whatever I need to work on. So in this case, I was hitting drivers. I think I hit 5 drivers. And, I'm just picking a target. So my target in this video is there's a sort of set of trees just over there's like a hill, the green's sort of sunk. And in that set of trees, there's a tree off to itself, but there's a clump of trees, and there's a tall tree in the middle. I'm lining up on that, so the angle on the video doesn't look like that. But I'm trying to just go through my routine. Like, I've been watching these videos and going through these videos, and it's been so helpful to see if I'm really doing my routine. So you can see myself catching myself and just doing my routine, even though I'm just bashing balls away. It makes it seem a lot more transferable to when you're actually in a round, right? So I'm trying to work on just pick an intermediate target, which is something I've never done before. So you can see me doing that, and then just working on swing stuff. I hit all of these balls pretty well. I think the second one I sort of yank it left, but it's not like my left that used to be. Like, it was like a smother hook. Like, this was just a pull. It's sort of like not the greatest swing, but it's definitely in play. So that I would attribute to like some of the connection towel drill stuff I'm doing, and really working on that and staying on plane. And then I just go through these hits. They're all pretty good swings, so I'm just trying to hit a little cut off of my line, that's my address line. Hit the ball down that line, and just cut it, fade it back in to the center of the fairway. I'm pretty happy with this. I took my radar out. I'm swinging about 99 miles an hour, but then I went on GolfWorks, and everybody says you lose about 5 miles an hour in the winter, so that makes sense. So I'll keep working with the power fan thing, or the power aid I have, and see, just monitor when it's warm enough. Take my swing speed radar out to the course with me and plop it up when I have a chance. So what I do is I sort of play 5 or 6 holes with whoever I get paired up, and then I sort of double back and I play a bunch of holes like you've been seeing, and just practice. So I think that's really helpful. So I just practice wedges. There's no driving range out there right now. The range is closed for this season, so it's been good practice to just figure out how to get warmed up and get going really quickly in the event that I play a tournament and there's no range there, which is a lot of the cases here in the if the courses are more in the New York City area, which is where I happen to live. A lot of those courses don't have ranges, so it's just how to So I'm taking my super speed swing stick, the lowest weight one, the lightest one, and swinging with that, and that's actually quite nice because it's like it gets you loosened up, but because it's so long, it's sort of it keeps your tempo going, and it's a little easier to carry around than an orange whip. What else has been happening? So bag updates. So why am I addressing bag updates? Well, I went through all my scores from last year. So my handicap is now with the world handicap. I think it went down to a 0.4 which is pretty great. I in 2 years went down from a 4.5 to a point 0.4. So if you want to go through the videos and see how I did that, that's fine. If you want me to talk about some of the things I did, but again, going back to what I was just working on my short game, thinking about mental approaches and course management approaches to improve my scores, and then just doing whatever I can do when I get to the range, being efficient with my time. If I'm inside, practicing my putting. I have a little putting green in the apartment. Doing whatever swing work I can do inside. I don't have access to a range. So yeah, I think those things are being really efficient and trying to look at what I need to work on and trying to address it. And these videos have been helping because I've been, these are just like a diary. So, if you want to try to improve, just take your camera out and stick it in front of you. Not all the time, but once in a while. And if you're trying to work on stuff, see if that stuff's getting better. So I went through my stats from last year. And I mean, there was some positives. There was a lot of not positives, though. Like I didn't play a scoring as well as I would have hoped. So let's say I made like a sort of average, like a handicap in tournaments, and like I just took an average of my differentials. I didn't say well, because I have 5 scores and my best score was a 1.7, I'm a 1.7 in tournaments. I just try to do my scoring average and then get the course differential or the course rating and make differential. So my differential average was about a 6. So there's a lot of room for improvement. So what have I done to address that? Well, I looked at my stats. I just sort of circumstantially thought about, what was I struggling with in rounds. And so my driver was not, I was messing around with a lot of drivers last year. I was trying to find a good driver. So this will be my first season where I've played a full season again. I sort of worked with the equipment I had and was able to research and thought which would work for me well, and then address that as I went later into the season. Did some changes, so I've done some more changes. So I bought a Scotty Cameron putter, so I took all my drivers and traded them in for a Scotty, and it's making a lot of difference. Like I'm putting well. So when I was out last week. I played 6 holes with some folks, and I was only 1 over. I made my first birdie of the season. It was great, but I made a solid 5-footer uphill, right to lefter, and hit a great putt. And had some long putts and made good 2 putts, and made solid, 3-footers to knock it in. I putted everything out, so that was great, So addressing the putter, because the putter was rough in competitions. The greens are so fast, so it's got an insert. It's one of the Scotty Camerons with the insert, but I just feel like it's the ball's not coming off as quick as it was with the 8802. I'm sure I could get used to the 8802 if I had enough time, but it's the greens were markedly faster in the competitions. Which I'm sure anybody who's played in competitions is well aware of. I sort of forgot that. Then what else? Well, I struggled with my 3-wood a lot, and my 3-wood wasn't really a club I felt comfortable with. And in one instance, I lost a ball with it. That's just it was a good swing. It was in really crazy windy conditions, but I think. It was the Cobra. I was playing the Cobra F8, which is a great 3-wood, but it's pretty upright. And so I just sort of felt that one of the upright lie clubs, I have a tendency to pull them left. That's just what you do. So I went and I just picked up a Tour Edge Exotics 3-wood. I went and researched the lie angles on them. They're pretty flat, which is sort of what I wanted. And they've always had a great reputation. I mean, obviously, super big fan base online, but they've been, getting into the bags of a lot of guys on the Champions Tour, which I thought I've always been interested in them. I found a deal on a super cheap 3-wood, not the 119, but the CBX, the one before it. So I bought that, and I've gotten 2 shafts from Acra. I've got the TZ5 and the TZ6. So I'm going to put the TZ5 in the Acra head, and then I'm going to put the TZ6 in my sort of 3-4 hybrid. Another club that I sort of struggled with. I mean, I hit it well, but I just found that stock shaft, I could never find a shaft I liked, and the stock shaft it could just get away from me, especially trying to hit sort of like harder hybrids. So we'll put those in, we'll build those up. I also got like I tried a driving iron. It's you know, I'll have to reinsert the name of it here underneath. I've just gone blank at it, but the reviews were great, so I just got it. It's also got an Acra shaft in it, so I'll mess around with that in the spring. So at the top of the bag, I've got a lot of options there. I've got the P790 4-iron still. The only problem is I ordered it with the S300 shaft in it by mistake, and it's really heavy. So I need to adjust that. I also have the 545 4-iron in the Srixon, which is great. Again, it's just a little heavy. Like I took it out last week, and it feels it's like a heavy club. And then I also got a U65 5-iron. So I've got a lot of flexibility up there. Again, it has an S400 shaft in it. It's a beautiful shaft, but again, it's like the club's super heavy for me. So I'm going to try to get DG 120s and all of those. Also, I grabbed a Hamna 52 degree gap wedge. So it's a forged wedge. I took it out. I love it. It's great. So I was just having a lot of trouble with like full swings on if I needed them on my 52. It was just I was hitting the ball real high. So I've just been looking around at that. So those seem to be the big parts of the bag that when I go through my scores and what did I have issues with, I would say those were the points. So I'll update with these clubs. Also, nutrition. So because I didn't have a car, I really had to be careful of my nutrition. Like my metabolism is super fast. Tiger Woods has mentioned in interviews that he loses 4 pounds a round. And I could see that. Like I can lose weight so quickly. So I was using Kind bars, and they really helped. Also because they are like super low in sodium. That's only 15 milligrams of sodium. So when you buy some of these pre-processed like bars, I don't like carrying fruit around just because it's like it gets all messy in my bag and I forget about it. Yeah, definitely look out for like the sodium content on this stuff because it's usually it's just processed food. If you eat a lot of processed foods, there's going to be a lot of sodium, and so we all want to keep our sodium down because it's not a good thing, especially as we get older, and something I'm not great at myself. So yeah, those helped. But it definitely, in like the mid-amateur qualifier, I ran out of gas because just the train schedule, and I hadn't eaten enough breakfast, and I was 4 over for the last 5 holes, like a double, a par, and bogeyed in. Shot 79, but I wouldn't have made the cut or anything. I wouldn't have made the event, but it would have been nice to like post a 75 or 76, So that there's an example of where my nutrition or my scheduling of my nutrition definitely played a role. So I'm just going to I've got a few strategies in mind now how to deal with that. Making some stuff for the mornings because I depending on the course, like I had to leave like my house I think 3:30 and quarter to 4 a couple times to get out to tournaments. When I rented a zip car to get out to tournaments at the end of the Long Island. So those were long days, and I needed to, address eating, just even getting out there. So yeah, there you go. Those are the things I've been doing. There were some other things I was going to talk about, but it's probably I'll do another video on it. Yeah, so there you go. So that's how I'm going to try to address my scoring. And improve. But there's a lot of room for improvement there. So they put the schedule out for next year, so I'll just play more events. That'll help me too. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm just sitting in here in my kitchen all the time. But as I've said in other videos, like doing course vlogs, it's great content, but it's not conducive to getting better. I think you can see that in a few other YouTube channels. where aspiring competitive players get into making a lot of course videos, and that becomes the focus of their playing, and then they go to competition and they can't get it done. And the reason they can't get it done, I feel, is because you're sitting there with a camera on your course when you should be every time out there. You know, you don't have to be like not a nice person to your playing partners, but once you're ready to play, like, get into your routine and practice that. That's what we're doing. You know, you're trying to like play well every time, so just bump away at that every time you're on the course or in the range. You know, it doesn't take a lot to establish that habit. So just having the camera with me, I found, was not conducive to me practicing, and I don't have many times to get on the course, so when I do, I want to take advantage of it. So there's where we're at. So I've got some goals, scoring goals set for next year, or at least some a feedback loop from this year, and let's see if I get better. So what I'll do is I'll do what's in the bag once I have these clubs built out. You've seen the video here. I'm still working on the towel drill, still doing my power shoot inside, putting, stretching, a little bit of weights here and there. It looks like the weather's going to be bad for the next foreseeable couple, like at least into February, so I probably won't get out on the course. I was going to Chelsea Piers last year, but I mean, it's just so expensive. I don't know if it was really that worth it. Like, it just feels like if I can do little chips. I have a rubber golf ball, and I can do sort of little wedges here in my apartment, so that I feel that helps a little bit. So that's where we're at. So I just thought I'd show the video and check in and say, yeah, I went through my stats, I compiled everything, some lessons learned. If you played a lot of events last year, I'm sure you did that. If you didn't, yeah, there's something maybe you can do if you have some spare time. I just set up a little spreadsheet for myself. So yeah, we'll check in this time next year and see if any of this stuff was successful. So as always, I hope your summer is going great. I hope you're not spending too much money on eBay like myself. And we'll just check in at the next video. All right. As always, thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next time.